Good morning.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Kofi, how you doing? You found the link. Excellent. Okay. Okay. All right. Gentlemen, how's it going? Get this. I got a fan going, so I may put on a headset. I'd rather not because I'm recording it. And as you guys might have seen, I've been posting the videos on my website and on my YouTube channel, even though I think I have another set on them or anything, but I don't know, it's a little different, so. Good stuff.
That makes it good. If you want to revisit it, you can go back and revisit the lesson.
Yeah, and it's like your lesson as opposed to the lesson from the previous class. You know, sometimes somebody asks a question that the other class didn't, so you're right, it is kind of unique to the course part or specific to the people there in that particular class in that, in that venue. So kind of makes sense in a way. Good. And I think Kofi, you and I talked about this a while ago too. If you go to my website, I put on some individual lessons. I think, yeah, you raised the point that there was a lesson I missed. I got to get that. I got to put that on there one of these years. But I pretty much handle most of the letters, just a quick like 2-minute overview of the letter, doing some reading and stuff. So I have to get on there and do that too. I think it was Dalit or something, or Raish, one of those. I talked to Husheng yesterday about doing a continuing reading class, one that maybe will deal with the prayers and stuff and reading the prayers. That's kind of something I like to teach too, but I don't know that I have the time or we have the time here to do it. But I think when we do our learning next week, and I guess the way we'll do it, it's 10 to 2, but so we may go ahead and I guess we'll not do this class next week, but I'll get on at 11:45 anyway. I'll have my computer with me and I'll just do the Miller class from there, from the synagogue. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Because we're going to miss a class in the first week in August. The 7th, August 7th is Tisha B'Av. And I think you guys both know that we've gone over Tisha B'Av, right? It's the 9th of Av. Yeah. And since it's a Sunday, usually what we do is we do an evening service. And last year I think we did it on Zoom, but this year because it's on Sunday, actually it's technically on Shabbat, but you can't do you can't do something like that on Shabbat. Shabbat is done more frequently. It's done every week, and the mitzvah that's done more frequently takes precedence over the mitzvah that's done less frequently. And since Tisha B'Av is done only once a year, and quite frankly, it's not even in the Torah, then you wouldn't preempt Shabbat, to do a fast like that, unless of course it's Yom Kippur. That's a whole different story. So we're going to do it. So typically when the 9th of Av falls on a Sunday, they move it to the next day, or when it falls on Saturday, Shabbat, they move it to the first day of the week, Yom Rishon, which is Sunday. So there it is. There it is. All right. So let's give it another minute and then we'll get started. And I just got a response back from NJOP today. I guess I was communicating with the wrong person about, letting them know that I'm doing their class because they've, this is a great class. As I think you guys have seen, it's really kind of very complete. And I know Kofi, you've gone around on it once, and it's great that you're coming back for another helping of it. Love that. Always good for a review.
Yeah, no, it's really cool because I can actually read, this Cedar Hadash, and so my next thing is understanding what
Right.
I'm reading, but I still want to get better at being able to read the words. So that's why I'm back.
Yeah, yeah. That'll take a while, but then again, it's with practice. And Kofi, if you don't mind my saying to Josh is actually getting a master's degree in, what is it, comparative religions, Josh?
I'm finishing my bachelor's in history and religious studies, and then I'm minoring in Jewish studies.
Excellent, excellent. Kofi was, you were in school to be a Christian pastor, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys have something in common.
Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Excellent. Yeah, when I did my ordination, I got a book on comparative religions, and that was one of the things I read. It was pretty interesting. There's a few religions in there I don't understand, but that's another issue. Like, I don't understand. I guess they used to call it Baha'i. They don't call it Baha'i anymore.
Oh yeah, that's like the newer one, or like they had it came out of Shiite Islam, and they had like their own prophet, and it tries to merge like the truth of all religions.
Oh, okay. With the tenets of Islam, right?
Yeah, it kind of grows out of there, but it's more like, and I guess their headquarters is in Israel, but they
I've been there.
Oh wow. Yeah, they try to like, there's truth in all religions, but we have like the ultimate truth, but you can kind of see the fingerprints of truth in other religions, but a lot of religions, or especially Islam, was like, oh, get out kind of thing.
Yeah, and they did away with that. They just said, no, we just want to do it kind of easily now. All right.
Yeah.
So when we last left our heroes, we were doing the mound, and I think we kind of touched on this a little bit. So this is a M sound. So Josh, why don't you go ahead and read for us line 1?
Ma, me, ma, me, ma, me, me.
Excellent. Kofi, why don't you go for 2?
E, me,
Good.
ma, me, ma, me.
Excellent. Let's drop down to 5. So I think, Josh, we did this last week, and I know Kofi, you're on your second round. So let's go for 5, and then I'll explain something here again. Go ahead.
Do you want me to go? Sorry.
Yes, please.
E, ma, e, me, ima,
Yep.
ba, vi.
Avi, very good. Okay, Kofi, let me have you do 7.
Ima, me, ba.
Excellent. So Ima is mother. And as we saw in our last lesson, the harik, that's this E vowel, put with a yud, that's like a Y, makes it first person possessive. So whereas Av is father, and it's a formal father, Avi is my father. Imi would be my mother. Ba is coming. So as we also saw previously, when there's this little dot in the middle of the letter, and this dot is called the dagesh, it changes. There are some letters that are called compound letters that it actually changes. However, for most of the letters, all it does is it's there for emphasis. So instead of imi, it might be imi. This makes it ba. This is avi. And the example I always like to give is that in Spanish, the b and the v are very similar sounds. The b is not a hard b, but it's more like a b. It's almost like a soft b, if that makes sense. So we've learned some words. Ima is mother, Imi is my mother, me is who, and of course, Abba is father, Ba is comes, Av is the formal father. And I read somewhere, whereas Abba is kind of like dad or daddy, it's actually Abba is derived from the Aramaic. So. Okay, Now we have the resh. This is R, and it says R as in round. They give you kind of like mnemonic aids, ways to remember it. All right, so this is a R, and this is different. There's another letter, very similar in structure, that confuses a lot of people because they look similar. So here's your resh, here's your R, and this is a dalet. This is a D sound. And the difference is that the resh, the R, is rounded. The dalet, they say, look, it's got a little dent on the end, kind of a duh dent. So, Josh, why don't you take line 1?
Ra, 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 re, re.
Okay, this is an ah. You are pronouncing the ah as if it was like a schwa, like a Okay, it's not it's ah. Okay, that's the difference.
Ra.
Ra. So try it again.
Ra, 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 re, re.
Yes, yes. I had you do that because, let's get the muscle memory going with the brain.
Thank you.
Sure. Kofi, line 2.
Ra, ra, re, re, ra, ra. I'm sorry, ra. I'm sorry. Re, ra, re, re.
Yes. And there's a little bit of a difference between these two. Not so much in conversational, but if you really want to get OCD about it, this is more like a re, almost like a shortened I, almost like an I, re. In modern Hebrew, modern conversational Hebrew, this is kind of a re. Whereas what this yud does, as it says in my tikkun, which is like a chumash, but it focuses more on the structure of the Torah. Why some letters in the Torah have dots over it, why some letters are smaller ones, some letters are bigger, things like that. And it calls this a charik gadol, which gadol is big or large. So this is a big E, and this is an E. So if you really want to get technical and OCD about it, this is really kind of a re, and this is a re. Okay, you don't have to do that. I'm just pointing that out. Okay, so let's learn a few more words. Josh, why don't you do line 3?
Rav, Ravi, or no, scare Rabbi.
Rabbi, yes.
Rav, Rabbi.
Yes. Now that's the word for rabbi. And it says rabbi is also a teacher, but actually the word rav means many or much. Ma'im Rabbi, many waters. And Rabbi is kind of like my rabbi. Rabbi. That's where we get the English word rabbi. Okay, Kofi, let's have you do line 4.
Rabbi.
Yep.
Rabbi.
Yep.
Avi.
Good.
And Rabbi.
Yes, very good. Okay, so Josh, let's have you do line 7.
Me, Rabbi, Avi, Rabbi.
Yep, that's actually a complete sentence because me is who, Rabbi is rabbi. All right, so who is the rabbi, or who is a rabbi, or who is rabbi? All right, the is formed a different way, and we'll get to that. But the words and in Hebrew don't exist. It's just taken for granted. Avi is my father, Rabbi. So who is a rabbi? My father is a rabbi. That's how you would read that. Okay, Kofi, let's have you do line 8.
Ima.
Yep.
Imi.
Uh-huh.
Abba. Rabbi.
Excellent. Very good. And of course, Ima, me, Rabbi. Mom, who is a rabbi. Abba, Rabbi. Father is the rabbi. See, Rav, Rabbi. All right, moving right along. So now we come to the hey. And this one little girl in my class said, the way you remember this letter, this is funny. She goes, the letter, it's like the letter saying, hey, come finish me. Because this is a broken letter. There are 2 such broken letters in Hebrew, this is the first one, and it's a H. The other one is a Kuf, and this is also a broken letter. I always ask people, I think we asked the class last time, Kofi, what this letter looks like, what English letter this looks like.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jim? Huh?
Is it like a P?
Everybody says P. I guess I see a different letter because,
Like an R?
well, this is a Kuf, and it's a hard K sound. What letter in English has a hard K sound? And it's hard to gather because it's very rarely used that way, if ever.
Is it a K?
Not a K.
A Q?
A Q, yes, Q. I think this letter looks like a Q, and that's ultimately what a Q really is. In other languages, mostly Semitic languages, Hebrew and Arabic, this is a very hard K. Only in English, we always pair it with a U, which makes it a qua, like quack and coral and, things like that. It's always with a U, but like the Gulf of Aqaba, I think that was the first exposure that Americans had to the, this K, and it's spelled with this Q without the U. So that's a little bit ahead, but meanwhile, this is a hey, it's a H sound, like our H. So Josh, let's have you do line 1 and let's learn some new words here too.
Ha, he, he.
Very good. Kofi, line 2.
Ha, he, ha, he.
Right. Okay, so when you have a ha or a ha in front of a word, and this is a prefix. Remember, in Hebrew, there's lots of prefixes and suffixes. It's the. It makes it direct. That's the word. That's the description for the. Makes it a direct. I think it's direct. Yeah. At the end of a word, the hey is not pronounced. Now, in the Torah, in the Tikkun, if you have a hey at the end of a word and it has a dagesh, a dot in it, they say it's actually pronounced as if it had one of these vowels under it. It's like a ha. And typically it's a feminine marker. So when you see that at the end of a word, it may distinguish that word as being feminine, as if the word didn't have the hey at the end of it, then it would be masculine. So we'll get there. Actually, we're going to get there now. So Josh, why don't you read line 3 and I'll show you what I mean.
Ba, va, ra, ma, ba. Is it ba'a? Ba'a, yeah.
Yes. So we're learning 2 words now, actually 1.5. Ma and ma is what? So me is who, ma is what? Ba'a means comes or coming, but it's the feminine form. In Genesis, it says that God created them male and female. There's really no it in Hebrew. Everything is either male, masculine, or feminine. And the noun matches the verb, matches the adjective. So if you said the big female is coming, you would say yalda, gedola, ba'a. They would all have to match. And in Hebrew, as you might have seen, or might have, as my hint was, the adjective follows the noun. In English, it comes before. So here we have ba, which is the male coming, masculine coming, ba'a, which is the female coming. And he is she. So Kofi, let's have you read line 4.
Ma,
Mm-hmm.
e,
Yep.
or he,
Good.
ma, e, he,
Yep.
he, Ima.
Right. Now, a question comes up a lot. You're seeing this aleph at the end of a word, and you're seeing this hey at the end of a word. They are not pronounced at all. So why are they there? Because that's how the word is spelled. And that's it. That's the answer.
Okay.
The word he is she. Okay, the yud makes it a little bit longer. The aleph is there for fun. He, that's it. It's as if these two letters didn't exist and all we did was have this. B, that's it. All right, so let's do some sentences now. Josh, let's have you do line 9.
Ima, ma, of, Rabbi.
Very good. You want to try it? You want to take a gander at translating that?
Is it who's coming? The rabbi's coming? No.
Yep. And what's that first word?
Ima, or is it mom?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And av. So what is that?
Is it coming?
Nope. Actually, no. Ba is coming. Remember what ma is?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Do you remember what ma means?
Is it, or is it father? No.
Well, ha'av is the father. Ma is what? So you're saying, Mom, what is the father? And Mom is answering, Ha'av Rabbi.
Is the rabbi?
Yes, the father is the rabbi. Very good. Okay. And Kofi, let's have you do line 10.
Abba.
Yep.
Me.
Yep.
He.
Good.
He. Ima.
Good. You want to try translating that?
Father. I don't remember what me is. Me. Yeah.
Me, who?
Who?
Yep.
The father who. And the mother who?
Yes. Who is the mother? Who is she? She is the mother. Very good. Now, we used to have this funny little saying when I was taking Hebrew school. He is, who is he? And we haven't gotten to the vowel u yet, but who is he? He is she. Oh, who is me is who? Who is he? He is she. Now, let's have Josh do 13.
Ha'av, Amar,
Yep.
Ima, ba, ba,
Yep.
Ima, ba.
Right. So Amar is another word. It means said. The father, Ha'av Amar, the father said. Ima comes, mom's coming, mom is coming.
Know what they say, Imar, the saying, because in the Torah, it like a bunch of chapters start like it seems like most of the Torah starts with God spoke to Moses.
Yep.
Saying. It's like you get used to that.
Yeah.
Phrasing.
Yeah. Yeah. When one of my kids was being bar mitzvah, that was one of our jokes because he had a few extra, typically the maftir, which is the last part of the Torah. It's always read. So we have the 7 aliyot, the 7 witnesses come up. And the minimum amount of verses that you're supposed to read for an aliyah is 3. Some of them go on longer. If you're doing the Song of the Sea, that chapter, I mean, you can have like 30 verses in one aliyah. And typically you do your 7 aliyot, then we do our sanctification to separate the Torah reading from what comes next. And what comes next, we do a little Mishaberach, prayer for those who are sick. And then we do the last, typically the last 3 verses of that Parsha, and that leads into, and that's the person that's going to read the Haftarah. Now, sometimes there's a special Shabbat for whatever reason. There's a few of them scattered throughout the year, and it's in another section. So we take another Torah, and a lot of times that maftir can be like 7, 8 verses, depending on what it is. And when one of my students was being bar mitzvah, he had Shabbat Shekalim, and the first phrase was Vayomer Anai Moshe Lemor. So he had like 5 verses, but the first one was kind of like, as we say in golf, a gimme. And we made a joke. We were looking through like Leviticus and Numbers and looking at all the places where you had that verse. So yes, you're right. Very, very common verse in the Torah. Okay, moving right along. So here is our second silent letter and also another vowel. This is an ayin, and it has no sound. It is a silent letter. And this, the 3 dots, it's called the segol. And as the name implies, the sound is eh. Now, a lot of people confuse this. They say, oh, it looks like a Y, so it's a Y. No, the yud, let me see it here. Yeah, right here. This is a yud. This is our Y. This ayin is a silent letter. Now, if you remember, one of our second lesson, we had 2 versions of this vowel. The one that the sound that we're using is the Sephardic, which is what Israeli Hebrew is, because it's in the Middle East, is ah. The Ashkenazic, it's an ah, which is your East, which is your European, and all points west is ah. Now, just kind of an FYI, I like to do those things. I like trivia. I'm a trivia fanatic. This and this letter are technically not the same if you're Sephardic. You would pronounce, how would you pronounce this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How would you pronounce this?
That the same eh?
We would pronounce it the same as this. The Sephardics, like Hushain, would pronounce this like an like a guttural silent. It's a very distinct, very minimal difference. But in Sephardic Hebrew, this is a guttural silent. This is just a regular silent, if that makes sense. It's the difference between a hey and a chet, which we're going to get to in a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because remember, Hebrew's spoken back here. It's a guttural language. English is in the middle of the mouth, and like Spanish, French, Italian, front of the mouth. Okay, so Josh, let's have you do line 1, and just go ahead and just do the sound as we're going to do.
Ah, Erev.
Erev, good.
Ba.
Yes, and we've learned a new word. Erev, like Mariv, is evening. And there's a song, Erev Ba.
Is that like Erev Shabbat as well?
Yes.
Okay, like is it night before, the day before?
Yeah. It's not the day. It's not the day before. It is the day. Because when do days start in Judaism?
And the evening.
That's right. So it's the first part of the day, not the day before. Or you could say it's the evening before the daylight. You could say it that way. But remember, days in Judaism start at sundown or 3 stars. You can use either one, but you have to be consistent.
Thank you.
All right, Kofi, let's have you do line 2.
Me, re, a, e, e.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So, Josh, let's have you do line 5.
Erev, ba, Abba, ba.
Very good. So evening comes, father comes. Kofi, let's have you do line 9. I'll challenge you a little bit.
Harabi,
Yes.
ba,
Yep.
ba, rev,
Very good.
hav, ba, erev.
Very good. Now we have another conjunction here. When you have a ba in front of a word, it means in the. If it was ba with the silent vowel, we did the silent vowel, right? Pretty sure we did, right? We did the silent vowel when we did, yeah. So when you have just ba, it means in. So ha is the, and ba is in. So the way they say in the, rather than saying ba, ha, they just combine it and say ba. Makes it easier. And as we go forward, we'll learn some more conjunctions. So this means, so what do you think, how would you translate this, Kofi?
So the first one, P, so it's something coming.
You were breaking up at the beginning.
I don't know what that first word is.
Robbie. Remember Robbie?
Oh, okay. Okay. So the rabbi,
yes,
is coming.
Yep.
Rabbi comes in the evening.
Yes, very good. And it's the same thing here, except who are they talking about?
Someone comes in the evening. What's that word though? Yeah, I don't remember.
What is Av? Remember that?
I don't.
So it's father, right?
Oh, Av is father too. That's right.
Yes.
Okay.
Av, the father, is coming in the evening.
Okay.
So Erev, evening, Ba Erev, in the evening. All right, let's go over this. And we may do one more letter. We may just break or do a review or something. Okay, so this is how we do an O sound in Hebrew. And the O sound actually has its own letter, which is over to the left. Remember, Hebrew goes right to left. So this is a vowel. There's two of them that stands to the left of the letter. The O can also just drop this vav. That's what this is. You can drop this and just put a dot on the upper left-hand side of the letter. As a general rule, if you have a word with two of these, and these are called the cholim, two of these O vowels in it, typically one of them is just this. They just do this dot. Instead of having two of these sticks with a dot on top of it, two of these vowels with a dot on it, one of them will be dropped and they'll just do the dot on the right, on the upper left rather. Okay, so Josh, let's have you read line 1.
Is it Bo?
Yep.
Vo.
Good.
Mo.
Yep.
Mo. O. O. O.
Very good. Very good. Okay, Kofi, line 2.
row, row, row,
Your boat, just kidding.
ho, ho, ha, ha.
Very good. Okay, we're going to learn some more words. Josh, line 3.
Ba, mo, re,
Yep.
ba, mo, re.
Very good. More is teacher. But it's not just a teacher, it's a male teacher. What do you think a female teacher would be?
Would it be the re, but with the dot inside the hay?
Close, close. Kofi, let's have you read line 4, and we'll come to that answer in a second.
Mo, re,
Yep.
eve, re, ivre,
Eve, re.
Ivry, yep.
Yep.
Ima,
Yep.
mo, ra.
Yep. Okay, so we have more and we have mora.
Mm-hmm.
So Josh, you were close with your ah sound. And Ema is what?
Is it mother?
Mother. So mother is,
Teacher?
yes. And Morat, Ivry, what is Ivry? What does that sound like? What English word?
Is that Hebrew?
Yes. So Morat, Ivry would be,
Is it, who's teaching Hebrew? Mother's teaching?
yes. Well, Morat, Ivry would be male, remember. So that's a Morat, Ivry. And Ivry is an adjective, and in Hebrew, the adjective follows the noun. So Morat is,
Teacher?
and Ivry is,
Hebrew?
so what is this? Who is this?
Hebrew teacher?
That's right. That's right. Very good. Okay, Kofi, line 6.
Avi,
Yeah. Oh, Avi, good.
Rabi,
Good.
me,
Good.
and mo, re, mo, ra.
Right. So we have e's on the end of these 3 words. So what does that do to these words, to these nouns? These nouns.
To make him first person possessive?
That's right. So Avi is,
My father?
Rabi is,
My rabbi?
Emi is,
My mother?
yep. And you might know people named Avi. That's actually a name. Avraham, Avi, Avimelech. Okay, very good. Okay, Kofi, let's have us do some reading of proper sentences. Let's go have you do 10.
Sorry, I was muted.
No.
Abba,
Yep,
ama,
good.
hamore, havri,
Yep,
and ba.
very good. So what did we say ha means again?
The,
Right. So the teacher, right? And again, we have to have agreement between nouns, adjectives, and nouns and adjectives. So if you put a ha in front of the noun, hamore, What do you have to do with the adjective?
Do you have to make it definite or possessive?
Yep, definite, exactly. Hamoreh ha'ivri, the Hebrew teacher is coming. Now, 11. Josh, let's have you read 11.
Ima Amra.
Not Amra, just Amra.
Amra.
Yes, but we're going to get to that point. It's a distinct point, but we're going to get to it in a minute. Okay, keep going.
Amoreh.
Amra.
Oh, sorry. Amoreh.
Nope.
Amora.
Yes.
Ba'a.
Yep, that's right. So Kofi, I think we discussed this before, but this is pronounced how? Kofi, go ahead.
Mira.
Not Amira. How is it pronounced?
Mira.
2 syllables. One, whoops.
Oh, got it. So Amra.
Amra, okay. What would this word need to look like? What would need to be different? I think we went over this before. For it to be pronounced Amara. Remember it all?
Would it need the dot above the mem?
Not above the mem, then would be Amora. And this wouldn't be here. The silent vowel wouldn't be here.
Would a yud do it?
Not a yud. You would have to have a dagish in there. That's one of the things that a dagish would do. If there was a dagish in the middle of this letter, you would have 3 syllables instead of 2. It would be a-ma-ra, and it would just be ma. All you would be doing is enunciating the sound of the consonant. Amara. That's the difference.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
In that word, the 2 dots, I mean, it's a silent vowel, but does it kind of put a full stop to when you go Amra? Like it's to say like, don't enunciate it more than you need to kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of. In other words, you're combining these 2 letters. It's tough manipulating this sometimes. These 2 letters is 1 syllable. And these 2 letters are 1 syllable, even though this is silent. Ra. Now there are some words like the V'ahavta after the Shema, where you have 2 silent vowels right next to each other. You have 2 letters with 2 silent vowels right next to each other. When that happens, the first letter would combine with the letter before it, the previous letter, to make 1 syllable, and then the second letter with the silent vowel would be pronounced with a dagish, whether it has some letters don't. Some words don't put the dagish in there, but you do it anyway. That's a little advanced, but okay. So what does the word amar mean? Do you remember?
Speaking.
And what is the word amra?
Is it teaching? Oh, she said.
He said, she said. Amar, amra. He said, she said. All right, let's do this one last letter and call it a day. This is your D, your dent. That's all right. We've done a lot. We've done a lot of work today. So let's just go over this and then we'll come up to a final mem, but that's another story. That's for another day. So this is your D sound, your dalet. And you see the difference between the dalet and the resh, and some of these are going to be read. You're going to see the difference as we go through the reading. Okay, so Josh, why don't you do line 1?
Do, do,
Good.
do, dode,
Yes, dode.
do, da.
Right. So dode is uncle, doda is aunt, and dode and doda can also mean my beloved, like dodi li, dohodi li, ba ani, right? Okay, Kofi, let's have you do line 2.
Da,
Yep,
di, da,
yep,
di, dode, do, da.
excellent, excellent. Okay, Josh, let's have you do line 3.
Ba, do, di, dode, ha, dode, ba, dodi.
Excellent. Kofi, line 5.
Dodi, more,
Good.
ha, do, ra,
Nope.
ha, do. Oh, I lost my place. Ha, do, do. That's not hadora.
Not dora. Making it larger to see if maybe same letter.
Hadoda.
Yes.
Oh, I'm tripping. Mora.
Mhm.
Hadoda.
See
Mora.
the difference now between the resh, the R sound, and the D, the dalit?
Yeah.
It's very, very distinct, and a lot of people confuse it. Very, very common confusion. All right, Josh, let's have you do line 6, and we'll call it a day. Actually, we'll have
So-
you read again, Kofi, and then we'll call it.
Abba, Ima, ha, do, da, ba'a.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, Kofi, let's have you do. Here you go. Let's have you do 12. Let's really hone in the difference between the dalit and the resh.
Me.
Yep,
Mora.
yep,
Hadoda.
yep.
Devora.
Yep.
Mora.
Yep. So me is
I don't remember.
Is it my like possessive?
it's mine. Well, no, this is who.
Me?
Yes, me is who. Mora is
Teacher?
yep. And Hadoda is aunt. And Devora is
Deborah, right?
Deborah.
Okay.
Mora. Aunt Deborah is a teacher. See that?
Yeah.
Dode is uncle, Doda is aunt, Devora is Deborah. All right, let's leave it there. We'll come back to our final mem. Some letters have final structures, final constructs. This is the mem that you would use at the end of a letter. So we will see you next week, or in Josh's case, we will see you in half an hour or so. And Kofi, you're welcome to join us there. Otherwise, thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you soon.
Awesome.
Thank
Great.
you, Rabbi.
All right, gentlemen, thank you.